Happy Earth Day, everyone! Today, I have a great Earth-themed yoga practice for you all. So all the poses that we're gonna be practicing together today will be somewhat Earth-related. Either you'll be existing on the Earth or you'll be living creatures on the Earth. So I hope you enjoy this practice and thank you so much for taking the time to take care of your body. Okay, so we're gonna start, of course, with a mountain pose. So you can either face the short edge of your mat or you can be facing me. Just know that later on we'll be moving towards the back of our mats. Okay, so I'm gonna be facing you to make it easier to see. So let's first make sure that we're standing straight. Okay, so everything is stacked on top of each other and your body is like one straight line. Okay, and once you have that alignment, with one breath in, bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head, hands together. And you can probably bring a tiny bend into your back for a baby back bend. Okay. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. And when you breathe out, bring your hands down to your sides. One more time, breathe in, hands through your sides to be on top of your head, hands together, and maybe look a little bit towards the back. Look at your hands, so you're in this little baby back bend. And breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, bring your hands down to your sides. Perfect. From here, we're gonna transition into a tree pose. So first, bring your right leg up into a high lunge pose. And maybe with the help of your hand, you can bring your right foot to be touching your left leg. So your left leg just has a tiny bend. All you need to be a little bit flexible, but do not put your right foot on your left knee. So anywhere but your left knee on your left leg. Perfect. And once you find a position for your right foot, you can open your right knee up towards the side. Okay, so maybe you need help from your hands to push it outwards, but the idea is that your hips are leveled and your right knee is pointing towards your right side. Okay, and when you feel like you're grounded, let's become a tree. So breathe in, bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head, hands together again, so like what we did in the mountain pose, but this time just with the support of our left legs only. Okay, so breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, just sink a little bit deeper and maybe move your right hip towards the side a little bit more. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, bring your hands down, and you can also bring your right foot down as well. And let's do everything on the left side. So bring your left leg up into a high knee position. And maybe with the help of your hands, bring your left foot to be touching your right leg. So remember to maintain a tiny bend on your right leg and do not bring your left foot onto your right knee. So anywhere but your right knee part of your right leg. And then when you feel like you found the foot positioning, then you can maybe with the help of your hands to push your left knee to be facing your left side. Okay. Make sure that your hips are leveled, and once you feel like you're grounded, with one breath in, bring our hands through our sides to be on top of our heads, hands together, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Okay, one more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, bring your hands down through your sides and bring your left foot down as well. So from here, we're gonna do some ego poses. So you kind of already got a sense of one leg balancing, and now we're gonna make it a little bit more challenging. Okay, so first we're gonna bend our knees to come into a chair pose, and that's gonna make the ego pose a little bit easier. And then first, bring your right leg up into a high knee position. It's not gonna be too high because your left leg is bent. And then bring your right leg to be on top of your left leg, and you can wrap your leg around. Okay, so you can bring your right toes to be wrapped around your left ankles if you can. Okay, and once you feel like your legs are stable and your hips are leveled, you can bring your arms to your sides. Okay, and then right arm down, left arm on top, and stack them at the elbows, and then you can wrap the forearms together and bring your hands together if you can. If you cannot, just engage in that reaching sensation towards both hands. So let's be here for a couple of breaths. Try to bring your forearms to be parallel to the ground. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, you can release everything and maybe shake out your legs a little bit. Okay, so let's do everything on the other side one more time. So let's try to come into a chair position by bending both knees. And then lift your left leg up into this high knee position, and then wrap your left leg around your right leg. Perfect. So your left thigh is on top of your right thigh, and then you try to bring your left foot around your right ankle. From here, make sure that your hips are leveled and you have a good grounding of your legs, and then you can bring your left leg down, right arm on top into eagle pose. Okay, so once again, if you can wrap your hands around to touch each other, then do that. If you cannot, just engage in that reaching sensation. So if you can, bring your forearms to be parallel to the ground, and let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, you can release everything and shake everything out. That was great. That was a lot of leg engagement. But then we did a lot of poses that are related to earth. And of course, something that's very important to the earth is the sun and the moon. So we're gonna do a couple of sun and moon related poses, okay? So to do that, let's first come to one short edge of our mats if you're not there already. All right, and we're gonna do some sun salutations first. So breathe in, bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head, and breathe out, dive down into a forward fold. Breathe in, lift halfway into a halfway lift. So back straight, legs straight with a tiny bend in your knees, and breathe out, fold forward again. Okay, breathe in, bring your hands down to the ground on each side of your feet to support you to step or hop back into a plank pose. Okay, and from here, we're gonna do knees, chest, chin. So exactly lowering your knees first, and then your chest, and then your chin, and then move into a sphinx pose. So your forearms are on the ground supporting you, and your upper body is lifted. Let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. From here to come out, bring your hands to your ribs so that you can be supported to lift into a downward facing dog. Since this is our first downward facing dog of the practice, we're gonna be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, you can hop or step into a forward fold. Okay, and then when you breathe in, halfway lift, breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, just sweep your arms through your sides to stand up and hold your hands above your head, hands together. And when you breathe out, just bring your hands down to your sides. Perfect. Let's do one more round of sun salutation, this time a little bit more challenging. So breathe in, hands through your sides to be on top of your head. And breathe out, fold forward. Breathe in, halfway lift, straight back, straight legs. And breathe out, fold forward. Breathe in, bring your hands to the ground. And breathe out, step or hop into a plank pose. And from here, we're gonna do a chaturanga, so it's almost like a push-up, but once you're halfway, flip your legs and your feet so that you're in an upward facing dog. Perfect. Okay, let's be here for one breath. Breathe in, lift it through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen, and breathe out. Come into a downward facing dog. Perfect. Okay, and from here, we're gonna go into some moon-related poses. So let's first step our right legs forward, and then lower your left leg onto the ground. Okay, and once you feel like your hips are leveled, release your upper body up. And then when you're ready, bring your hands through your sides to be parallel to each other on top of your head. Now we're in a crescent moon position. Let's be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then if you feel like you're ready, flip your left foot so you can support yourself into a high lunge pose. So everything that has happened is that you're using your left toes to straighten your left leg so that both legs are lifted and engaged. Okay. And once you're ready, we're gonna open into warrior 1 first. So pivot your left foot so that it's at a 45 degrees angle, toes pointing towards the top left corner of your mat. And then we're gonna open up to our left sides into a warrior 2. So check the alignment of your feet. Your left foot ideally should be pointed towards the center of your left foot, and your left foot should be parallel to the short edge of your mat. Okay. And then your arms are engaged and opened parallel to the ground. Okay, and from here, we're gonna go into a half moon pose. To do that, we're gonna lift our left legs and only support ourselves with our right legs and maybe our right hands. So to do that, maybe you wanna first shorten your stance a little bit so that you can use the momentum to kick your left leg up and maybe support yourself with your right hand on the ground. Okay. Now once you're ready, bring your left leg to be parallel to the ground, and then move your upper body to be open to the left side. Your left arm is perpendicular to the ground, and left hands are pointed towards the sky. Right hand is supporting you on the ground, so you're being supported by just your right foot and your right hand. Let's be here for one more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Maybe stretch a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Step back into a warrior 2. Perfect. Okay, and from here, we're gonna pivot back into a high lunge first, and then lower your left knee so we're in a crescent moon position again. And from here, lower your hands onto the ground, and then just keep your left leg bent at a 90 degrees angle. We're gonna straighten our right legs into a half split position, which is also called a monkey pose. Okay, so we can release our hamstrings a little bit from all that engaging leg work. Okay, so let's be here for one more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, fold forward a little bit. Okay, perfect. And then we're gonna go back into this low lunge position by straightening your left leg and bending your right leg. And then through a plank, we're gonna switch to the left leg forward. So left foot step forward, and your right leg is on the ground. Okay, right knee on the ground. And once you're ready, so try to check your alignment, and your left leg should be bent at a 90-degree angle. And once you're ready, you can lift your upper body up into a low lunge position, lifted low lunge position. And once you're ready, you can bring your hands through your sides to be parallel to each other on top of your head. And now we're in a crescent moon. Let's be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then we're ready, flip your right foot so that your right toes are supporting you to support you into a high lunge pose. So right leg straight and lifted, left leg is bent and supporting you this whole time. So now we're in a high lunge pose. We're gonna open into first a warrior 1 by pivoting your right foot so that your right foot is at a 45 degrees angle, toes pointing towards the top right corner of your mat. Okay, and then open your upper body to the right side and open your arms. So we're in a warrior 2 position. Okay, check your alignment. Right foot ideally should be parallel to the short edge of your mat. And then the center of it is pointing towards your left foot. Okay. Arms opened to the side and parallel to the ground. Okay. And maybe you need to shorten your stance a little bit because you know what's coming. We're gonna go into a half moon. So that's just supporting ourselves with our left legs and our left hands. So maybe shorten your stance so you have that momentum to come to a half moon. Perfect. So lift your right leg up, keep it parallel to the ground, and then support yourself with your left leg and your left hand. Okay, right fingertips pointing towards the sky. Let's be here for 1 more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. 1 more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. And when you breathe out, you can go back into a warrior 2 pose. Okay, perfect. And then you can pivot your back foot so that you can come into high lunge pose. And then you can lower your right knee down into a crescent moon pose first, and then into a low lunge pose. Perfect. From here, we're gonna first step back into this plank pose again, and then kind of thinking about a chaturanga, but then just release all the way to the ground. Okay. This will enable us to get into a locust pose, which is a little back bend. Okay, so with our hands by our sides and everything is straight, we're gonna lift all our limbs so we're just supported by our cores. Okay, so with 1 breath in, lift your limbs up. Okay, and you can bring your hands to be parallel to yourself if that opens our shoulders a little bit, or you can keep them just hands facing the sky, but make sure that your shoulders are engaged. Let's be here for 1 more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, your neck is relaxed, and breathe out, lower everything down. Okay, and from here, let's go back into a downward facing dog first. Okay. And then we're first gonna go into a 3-legged dog by kicking your right leg up. And then we can come into a wild thing. So bring your right leg down onto the ground, and then your upper body will naturally flip towards the sky. And your right arm will fall towards your right ear, okay? So let's be here for 1 more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Maybe sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, lower your right hand down, and then you could come back into a downward facing dog. Very well. And from here, let's do everything on the other side. So kick your left leg up into your 3-legged dog, and then bend your left leg, and then maybe lower your left leg to come into a wild thing.
So your upper body naturally twists towards the sky, and then your left hand will fall along your left ear, and your right foot and your right arm are engaged and supporting on the ground. So let's be here for 2 more breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, bring your left hand down onto the ground to support you to come back into a downward facing dog. Perfect. And from here, lower your knees to come into tabletop position. And we're gonna release all the tensions in our spines by going into some cat and cat. So breathe in, arch your back, bring your gaze up. Breathe out, round your back and bring your head down, relax your neck. Breathe in, arch your back, bring your gaze up. Breathe out, round your back and relax your neck, look down. One last time, breathe in, arch your back, bring your gaze up. And breathe out, round your back, bring your gaze down, relax your neck. Perfect. And from here, we're gonna first come into almost a child's pose, but we're not done yet. So this is only a transition pose. Through here, you can sit down on your heels and then flip your legs forward to be straight. Okay, we're gonna do a plow pose, which is basically the reverse of a back bend, because we have done some back bends. Now it's a good time to do a counter pose, right? So maybe you need to scoot forward on your mat a little bit because your legs are gonna go over your head when you lie down. Okay, so you need some space to make sure that your back will be on the ground, your back and your head. Okay, and once you're ready, you can lower your upper body onto the ground. All right, and then I find it easier to start with my knees bent, but make sure that your hands are firmly supporting you on the ground, okay? So hands down on the ground. And once you're ready, maybe first try to bring your legs into a tabletop position, all right? So you can already feel like your core is being engaged, but we're gonna go one step further. So we're gonna think about lifting your hip, and then bring your legs over your head. So your legs should be as straight as possible, but if that's not accessible to you, you can bend your legs and bring them to your ears. It's also helpful to support yourself on your lower back, okay? So find your position. Let's be here for just 2 breaths. Maybe your legs are bent, or maybe your legs are straight. And try to bring your toes onto the ground. Okay, so let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head still, and breathe out, bring your legs down a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, bring your legs down a little bit more. Perfect. And then when you breathe in, you can gradually, vertebra by vertebra, bring your upper body onto the ground and maybe support yourself with your hands on your legs. Okay. And from here, we're with our legs still in the air, let's go into a happy baby pose to massage our spines. Okay, so bring your legs open and keep them bent. And then maybe you can bring your feet to your hands. Maybe you can lock your fingers around your big toes to really push your legs open and down. Okay, so now we're in a happy baby pose. You can feel free to rock left and right to really massage your spine. Okay, so be here for as long or as short as you want, but we're gonna be here together for 1 more breath until we come together into our closing seated sequence. Okay. So once you're ready, bring your hands around your legs. Your legs are bent, okay? So you try to come into a little ball, and then
come back into a seated position, and I'm gonna face you, and you can either face me or face the short edge of your mat. We only have 2 more poses to go, so it's a very short seated sequence. So we're first gonna come into a butterfly pose. Okay, so bring your feet together. Try to bring them as close to your groin as possible. Okay, so maybe you will find that your knees are really elevated from the ground. That's fine. This is a hip opening pose, so you're gonna gradually sink your knees down a little bit more to open up your hips. Okay, so find a position that's challenging enough for you, but not painful. Okay, so feet together, close to your hips, and then knees are opened to the side. Let's be here for 3 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Maybe you fold forward a little bit. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, fold forward a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, fold forward a little bit more. And then if you fold it forward, then support yourself to sit straight up. Okay, and then our last pose is a firelock pose. So this is also kind of a hip opening position. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stack our shins on top of each other. So I brought my right shin down onto the ground to be parallel to the long edge of my mat. And then I just stacked my left shin to be right on top of it. Okay, so now I kind of have this little triangle when I look down on my legs. Okay, so let's be here for 3 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Just sink a little bit deeper. Maybe let your legs touch each other a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, engage your legs a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and if you want, you can fold forward a little bit. Okay, then you should be feeling a very intense stretch in your hips. And if you fold it forward, when you breathe in, lift your upper body up, and then we're gonna switch everything on the other side. Okay, so left leg down, right leg above this time, and then your shins are parallel to the long edge of your mat, and they're stacked on top of each other. Okay, then make sure that your hips are leveled. Now we're gonna be here for 3 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, connect your legs a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, engage a little bit more. Maybe you will want to fold forward. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And once you're ready, with 1 breath in, prop your upper body up, and then release your legs. Maybe you can bend your knees and hug your knees a little bit. Great. And then you can also release your legs forward into a staff pose, and then maybe shake your legs a little bit. Perfect. And once you feel like you release all your tensions, you can just come into a cross-legged easy pose. And that is our practice. Thank you so much for joining me in practicing this Earth Day yoga sequence. I hope that you feel more rooted to the ground and have more appreciation of your body and this earth that we share. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time on the mat. Bye.